Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world is shifting right before our eyes. Global alliances are being tested, economies are trembling, and geopolitical tensions are rising to levels we haven't seen in decades. In a move that has shocked allies and adversaries alike, Donald Trump has just ordered an indefinite pause on all military support to Ukraine. Meanwhile, a full-fledged trade war is unfolding, sending shockwaves through global markets and international relations. These two decisions are not isolated. They are pieces of a much larger puzzle, one that could reshape the balance of power across the world. What does this mean for Ukraine? How will Europe respond? What are the economic consequences for the United States and its allies? And perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for the future of American leadership on the global stage? Today, we break it all down. Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukraine has relied heavily on Western military support, especially from the United States. The numbers are staggering. Nearly half of all military aid to Ukraine has come from the U.S., with the rest divided among Europe and other allied nations. This aid has been crucial, allowing Ukraine to hold its ground against a much larger Russian military force. But now that lifeline has been severed. Trump's decision to pause all military assistance to Ukraine has left officials in Kyiv scrambling for alternatives. Without U.S. support, the burden now falls squarely on Europe. The European Union, a bloc of 27 nations along with the UK, has already been providing substantial support to Ukraine. But can they compensate for the loss of American assistance? To match previous aid levels, every European country would have to double its military contributions. That's an enormous ask, both financially and politically. Some European leaders have pledged to step up. The president of the EU Commission has stated that Europe is in an era of rearmament and is prepared to increase defense spending. But pledges and actual action are two very different things. Many European nations are already stretched thin, balancing their own economic struggles with growing domestic unrest over prolonged involvement in Ukraine. Then there's the UK, which recently announced the formation of a coalition of the willing, a group of nations prepared to put boots on the ground in Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. But not everyone is convinced this is a viable solution. U.S. Senator J.D. Vance dismissed the plan outright, claiming it amounts to sending 20,000 troops from a country that hasn't fought a war in decades.
And this is an important part of it. The president knows that, look, if you want real security guarantees, if you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine. That is a way better security guarantee than 20,000 troops from some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years. The security guarantee and also the economic guarantee for Ukraine is to rebuild the country and ensure that America has a long-term interest.
The reality is, without American military aid, Ukraine's position on the battlefield is severely weakened. Russia, on the other hand, sees this as a major strategic advantage. It may embolden Moscow to intensify its offensive, believing that Western support is crumbling. The consequences? A potential collapse of Ukrainian defenses and a renewed Russian push deeper into Ukrainian territory.
We also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
As if the military situation wasn't enough, Trump's aggressive trade war is shaking the global economy. Effective immediately, the U.S. has imposed 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, alongside 20% tariffs on China. The reaction was swift. Stock markets worldwide plummeted. Crypto markets took a massive hit. China wasted no time in responding. Beijing declared that if the United States continues down this path, they will fight to the bitter end. China has a history of retaliating against U.S. tariffs with its own economic measures, and we can expect more of the same. Canada was equally defiant. Prime Minister Trudeau announced a 25% tariff on all American imports, while Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, took it a step further. In a fiery statement, he warned that if the U.S. tries to economically cripple Ontario, he would consider cutting off energy supplies to America.
There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today. Now, the legal pretext your government is using to bring in these tariffs is that Canada is apparently unwilling to help in the fight against illegal fentanyl. Well, that is totally false.
Mexico has yet to respond officially, but reports suggest that contingency plans are in motion to protect their economy. Europe is not escaping this trade war unscathed. Additional tariffs on aluminum, steel, agriculture, and cars are set to take effect in the coming months. This is a direct hit to Germany, Europe's economic powerhouse. Already, shares in major German car manufacturers like BMW, Mercedes, and VW have dropped significantly. The German government has made it clear Europe will not be pushed around. They are preparing their own countermeasures, which could further escalate global trade tensions. So what does this all mean for the United States? On one hand, Trump's supporters argue that halting aid to Ukraine will save billions of taxpayer dollars. They see the trade war as a necessary step to bring jobs back to America and reduce dependence on foreign manufacturing. But the reality is far more complex. Without military aid, U.S. influence in Europe weakens significantly. Russia and China are watching closely, ready to exploit any fractures in Western alliances. If Europe is forced to go it alone, they may start looking elsewhere for security partnerships. That could mean stronger EU-China relations, or even deeper ties between Europe and Russia in a post-war scenario. Meanwhile, the tariffs are already having unintended consequences. Higher import costs mean rising prices for American consumers. Farmers, manufacturers, and small businesses that rely on international trade are bracing for impact. And then there's the political angle. This all comes just before Trump's State of the Union address, where he has promised big announcements. Could this be just the beginning of an even larger shift in U.S. foreign and economic policy? These are not just headlines. These are decisions that will define the future of international relations, global security, and economic stability. The world is watching. The question is, what happens next? Stay tuned as we continue to cover this evolving story. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on world events. Thanks for watching.